G'day, welcome back to Sacred Masculinity. I'm Josh, here with Maurice, Nathan, Rick, and the spacesuit Ian. And today we've already been talking about Deja Vu. What is it? How it affects you? What's your thoughts? My topic today is Deja Vu. I guess most people have experienced it. There's no scientific or medical proof or evidence or anything as to what it is, so I want to hear some opinions, hear what everyone's got.
So what did you find though? Because you did research this.
I did. I did a bit of research on, not intentionally on the scientific view of it, however, through my research, that was pretty much all I could find. And what I found was no one actually knows from a medical or a scientific standpoint. They have theories. They theorize that it could be a temporary delay from the information making its way through your brain to where it becomes vision, where it becomes sight. It has to pass, so this information passes through the amygdala, the hippocampus, and a few other areas. And what it could be is that there's just a little bit of a delay before it reaches our vision or what we perceive as vision. So there's a familiarity because the brain recognizes it and then a split second later, creates recognition, and then a split second later you see it, rather than normally when that happens it's quite simultaneous. So there's a theory that it's just a delay in brain signals. Another theory they have is the only place in human history where it is common is people with epilepsy. So usually as a precursor for seizures. Most people, or a lot of people with epilepsy, have said that they can tell when a seizure is going to come on because they have an episode of deja vu, whether it's small, whether it's big. That's a bit of an independent
smell of burning toast.
So one theory is that every time you have an experience of deja vu, you experience a mini seizure. And seizures are basically just a firing of too many neurons at one time for your brain or for your mind to comprehend, and that's why the seizures happen. So potentially it's a small seizure, not enough for you to go into a full epileptic fit, but enough for there to be an overfiring of signals, which then has confusion between what is real and what is new and what is familiar. Basically, from my bit of research, that's really all I could find. And there's a lot of different people saying very similar things along the same line. However, what I'm interested in is how it ties in with spirituality, with consciousness, with precognition, with everything else out there that science doesn't want to go into and doesn't want to try and explain.
I guess it's harder for them to measure it.
Yeah, I get it. From a scientific point of view, I get it. It's all about how something can be measured. How something can be displayed. How it can be compared, how it can be triggered. But that's not what we do here on this couch, is it?
No.
We do the opposite. And thank you for tuning in.
And the outcome, if we launch this research experiment, is we're not going to make enough money, so we're part of it.
That's true.
All right, thoughts, ideas. Who's got some experiences?
I'd say we'd all have experiences. I just want to say I have no idea about this topic today, so I haven't done any research. So
Do you have any idea of any topics though? You sort of just.
He knows
float in.
massage.
He just.
He does it intuitively, so does he know massage or does he just do it?
Well, that's a good question. Every day is a new day, isn't it? A new person. Interesting. Okay, well, I'll speak from my point of view, and I'm sure I'll have more as they come.
More than you did in the love video?
The love video, was very quiet, wasn't it? But the skillful thinking practice was after we went to men's retreat. That's when the fifth chakra opened.
You opened up and you started.
And we came here, and then it started to bubble out. Really,
Yeah, that's cool.
So it was a time warp. Deja vu. What is deja vu? I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to find out through you guys what you call deja vu, or whether there's other experiences that are called something different. So I might be in a moment, and then all of a sudden I start to witness that I've been here before, essentially, but it's more than just seeing a black cat. It is the recognition of this thing playing out that I've experienced before, and all of a sudden I can be transported into, say, my dream. I dreamt this. I don't know when, but I've had all this before, and now I'm not just here in this moment, but I've been transported into two places at once. It's like, and I'm now wherever I was having this moment as well as here simultaneously. So the pictures merge from two separate places in time, if that's a thing. So I have that. I'm not going to say often, but it's there.
It's almost like the portal's open between the two different possibilities, and you're smack bang in the middle of it, physically experience it in this possibility, or this timeline, but then consciously aware of it happening previously in another timeline.
Well, it's usually me. I'm not consciously aware of it until, well, now, and it's usually me it's happened in a dream, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I'm aware then, I've already seen this, or I've already experienced this in my dream state.
So it's a dual awareness?
Well, yeah, I don't know. So I don't know what that is, but yeah, it's interesting.
Do you know the lead time in between that state and for you the lead time of that state?
And it's never the same. It can be like so far back, and or like years, or it could be similar as well, or and at times even so premonitions, is that what we call it?
Precognition, yeah, that's the part that interests me.
So there were other things. I remember when we had those floods, the night of Noah they call it, day before. I told a lot of people, I can name them, that this was going to happen.
Names and places will be
Jack Innocent. And it was really bizarre. And I'd said I'd had a dream that this was about to occur. That wasn't a deja vu, that's different. So the deja vus though, are literally witnessing or seeing something unfold again, or it's happened before. For me, that's a deja vu. But there are other little deja vus, like smaller moments of where I'm not quite understanding what's going on, I guess, but I feel like this has happened before. I mean, I think people get that a lot, don't they? I hear people talk about it. Not like Matrix style, where a black cat and then glitches and comes back again. More
that is technically the same thing.
Ooh, yeah. So, but and there's because I'm sitting here and just hearing this, I'm trying to remember experiences that have happened. So I'll start with that, and then we'll move around. What's deja vu?
So I've had something very similar to that experience, where sitting in the experience and then seeing it in a dream. But I've had that hundreds of times in my life.
So that would be more of a precognition?
Yeah, but is it a precognition then seeing it in my dream state but not being aware of it until I actually come to the here and now?
You having experience in them,
but you remember the dream to know that it associates with the here and now.
So is that
that's a precognition, because it's when the deja vu is more you're in their experience and all of a sudden you go,
a familiar
fuck,
feeling.
this happened before.
Yeah.
I've seen this before.
I feel like there's a separation between deja vu and the precognition, the precognitive feeling. For me personally, they 9 times out of 10 happen together. The deja vu will happen first. The familiar feeling, hang on a sec, I've lived this moment before, and then straight after that moment, I go into the precognitive state where I can, if I'm having a conversation with someone, I know what they're going to say next, word for word, could be anywhere from 3 seconds to a minute, or I know what's about, if someone's about to walk into a room, they're about to walk into a room and going to sit in a specific position and do a specific thing.
But then is it co-creating that experience?
I'm not too sure. I'm not sure. It doesn't feel like a creating experience in the times of my life where I have intentionally created experience or have a created experience. It doesn't have a familiar feeling. Yep. It's an intention. I feel like a created experience.
It is a familiar feeling, but it's that you've done it before, familiar, but I didn't create this.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, the precognition tied in with deja vu for me. It's a very specific feeling, and knowing that I'm unable to relate to anything else in life that I've experienced. But I have had moments where I've had deja vu without the precognition. You know, for example, opening a fridge and then I have this feeling and it's like, deja vu. But there's a lot of the times it's the deja vu feeling, especially when I'm with other people, and then the knowing with almost certainty, anywhere from 10 seconds to a minute, of what's going to happen next. And now I find that different to when I relate to having an event happen in life and then remembering, I've seen this in a dream, or I've dreamt about this exact thing happening, because I can pinpoint the fact that it's happened in a dream. Whereas deja vu, precognition, I can't pinpoint the origin, just what's happening in the future timeline.
But is that deja vu then just a timeline pointer for this lifetime, for the experience, saying, hey, you're on the right path moving forward through life? And is it an awareness that's just bringing to the consciousness?
A signal from the higher self.
I think it's patterns that have happened in other lives, just repeating themselves.
Yeah.
So my take on it is, from my research, is that what happens is...
From your research?
From my research.
The reading of the stuff, or research from where?
This and from YouTube. This is all revolved around reincarnation, and everything is happening at the same time. So it's actually parallel incarnation. And what's happening is that in every incarnation is happening at the same time, you're seeing a pattern that you've performed previously in that other life that's happening at the same time.
So can I just throw into the Russian physicist? Is it possible, I can't remember his name, where he was creating so many potential possibilities, every...
reality transurfing.
Reality transurfing.
Basically that's what it comes down to.
Are we blurring between the parallels of the next...
Correct.
Or between parallels
between
of
all the different lives happening.
Yeah.
So that's a point where it's going, this is a pattern that's happening in your multiple lives.
It actually makes a lot of sense.
And you now have a choice of which way you want to go with that pattern. Do I want to keep or delete this pattern that's occurring? So it's about everything's happening at the same time.
Fudging the lines
you're
between...
fudging the lines,
So it could be
and
a
this is what the
frequency
Matrix
match between
glitch
the
with
other.
the black cat is, because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
fudging the lines
Yeah, yeah.
between whatever reality is happening. So what I heard was that there's a...
Which
what we call-
differentiates the difference between precognition and that.
Yeah. So there's an oversoul that then decides to split and have multiple experiences. So there's multiple possibilities that are all happening at the same time. And then as the soul progresses, they have the same patterns happening in the different lifetimes. And so at that point in time, when you get the deja vu, it's a sign for you to then go, okay, here's something that's happening in all my lives. What do I want to do with it?
I've never
'Cause
thought
it's a-
about
it's a-
exploring it as a possibility like that.
so it's a
before.
pattern that's happening in all your lives.
Yeah. It's almost like at a second you frequency match with the source soul that's able to see
Yes.
it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty interesting way of
that is,
looking at it.
yeah.
So everything's happening at the same time. So it might be that you're an Egyptian person, for example, and the interaction you're having with that person is exactly the same as what you'd be having at exactly the same time in Egypt.
Yeah. So they're
And
also
that-
playing Call of Duty Warzone.
Well,
The
something
partner walks
similar.
in.
Yeah, something similar. Yeah.
Doesn't even...
Yeah.
It's very logical.
You've been oddly quiet. I want to hear.
I'm just
He's
processing.
processing. Yeah. And so that's why, I had this thing for me. I love Viking stuff, right? Don't know why I liked Viking stuff. And then when I went and did my ayahuasca, they said I was a Viking healer. And then when I got my DNA test done, I'm descended from that part of the world. So was I just remembering stuff at the same time? Like I went and got a Viking bracelet. Was I doing that in another life
Yeah. I
in
see.
parallel
Yeah.
moment at the same time?
But
Because it felt like I'd done this before. Like, I bought this. I've had one of these before.
that
Yeah.
could
Well,
be
I'm having one now.
slightly different though than a deja vu experience.
True.
Where it's the blurring of so many realities at once, or parallel universes, if you
Yeah.
like, because with DNA encoding, like video encoding within DNA, we can still see
Yeah, exactly.
the past through our ancestors.
But
And you might
technically,
be-
there's no past.
Well, how do we genetically through parents, grandparents, all those
Yeah.
people, we're still handed some, like a border collie. How does it know how to round up sheep? Is there some sort of DNA video encoding that helps people from a certain lineage react or behave or see certain things? So then you
Or
can
have an
also,
affinity for the Viking.
Or is that just
so you might see
yeah.
that as well coming
Yeah.
through,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily
Yeah.
deja vu as well.
True.
That's true. You're talking about social constructs, then, aren't you? Really, the social consciousness.
I'm just making the difference between
Yeah.
differentiating
Yeah, I
between
see what
maybe
you're saying,
two
yeah.
possibilities as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of what you said is definitely like I feel it. Yeah. it's
Yeah,
very-
yeah. So that was what it was. Yeah, when I heard that, it was like, oh, that resonates. So it's not reincarnation; it's parallel incarnations.
Yeah.
Everything's
Okay.
happening at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like and again, reality transurfing. That's a good way of.
Because
Yeah.
time is only a construct for us to be able to
Yeah.
understand this existence.
Yeah.
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 Like there's only ever the now. There is no
Yeah,
past.
time
There is no future.
simultaneous. Yeah. Yeah.
There's only ever the now. So the now is happening in multiple different avatars
Potential
for the same
possibility.
soul, potential possibilities. And anytime you have the choice of, this comes back to free will, to change which possibility you're going to go down by that moment of deja vu.
It's like an access to.
Yeah, you're accessing or your
Yeah.
social memory complex of that soul consciousness that's having
Nice if you
multiple
just had a little bit more
experiences.
information on that deja vu, wasn't it? Just a little bit more clarity of which way.
Yeah.
what
So
the
you're just
possibilities were.
recognizing, I've had this experience technically before, but I've had this experience in another incarnation of myself,
Yeah.
which is happening right now. So it could be the same you at another point in whatever that reality is, having the same experience, and all of a sudden it's gone. Whew.
Yeah. You just
It's
match
the
frequencies.
weave
and
of time
experience.
is all.
Yeah,
of a
you
sudden
might not
whew.
have like essentially don't need to match. It's maybe
No.
you've jumped ahead slightly somehow because
Yes.
therefore the deja vu is like
Receiving what
bang,
yeah.
it's happened already, and I'm about to witness
Yeah.
this again because
Yeah.
somehow you've fallen behind, move forward of,
Yeah, yeah.
or,
So it's a
dualistically being in two places, one slightly ahead of the other. I don't know.
but they can't be slightly ahead of the other.
Well, I know you're talking about time in that fashion,
Yeah.
but why? Where's these rules? I don't know. But I'm just.
So there is
We will probably
those
never
rules.
I
understand.
guess in a sense that they can, so if we're saying that, so time is both linear and simultaneous.
True.
So to say, everything's just happening now and we're discounting that there is a past and a future, then we're also discounting the concept of evolution.
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that they must both coexist.
Mm.
So we can still use the concept of past and future
Yep.
and over, which then adds to a greater expression of the whole, but it doesn't get caught up in just this that's about to happen and that did happen.
Yeah.
But it's all what is about to happen and what did happen is all happening
At the same time.
at the same time. So I think it's good to differentiate or at least acknowledge that as well.
Because I don't have any deja vu moments of being a rock.
Well, that was a question I
Oh,
had.
you have?
Are you?
No, that's
Yeah.
just an.
Yeah.
I
But
never
then
thought
again-
about that before.
Yeah, because you were a rock once, like we talked about
Yeah,
Thursday night.
yeah.
You were-
He was a rock. I was a tree.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
You were
So
a beautiful tree, that's why
I've had many experiences of being. A
You
rock.
have, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know rocks quite intimately. So I'm a Zen gardener. So in Zen gardening, there's so much reverence that's placed upon rocks. So I listen to a rock and I ask it how it wants to be placed. So I can communicate with a rock.
Yeah,
I know that's
yeah.
pretty.
No, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
we'll take him away. Only 4 seats now. Who's next?
No, I mean, it makes sense. If we were once an elemental being, water,
Yeah.
fire,
Yeah.
earth, air, then you resonate with that. It makes
Sure.
sense.
And this is how Ra was able to create the pyramids, because he could connect with the consciousness of rock.
Mm.
Resonates, yeah.
And so that's how they moved it.
Yeah.
That's how it's spliced. Like it was,
Mm.
everything was
It's
just
so perfect, wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
It
can't
wasn't
replicate
created
it.
by slaves.
Yeah, yeah.
Good theory.
Yeah.
Great theory.
From
but-
miles away, the rocks came
yeah,
from.
it was just, and they had,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
there's nothing.
Over valleys
special.
and canyons. And
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the question was arising for me as you were talking about that was around densities, because when we talk about coinciding incarnations, are they based on certain levels of density?
Yes, that did come up. It's all about the vibratory rate. So you're probably connecting with the other ones at the same time. They're at the same vibration.
Yeah.
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 Not to say you can't talk to a rock.
When you say the
Okay.
densities, are we talking about the potential possibilities of these other
1 to 7.
things in other densities? Like this one's moved through to the 4th, that
The 7th density. Well, I guess you still are. Yeah.
to the
I'm
5th.
thinking that probably the deja vu that we're sort of discussing here is in these multiple incarnations all happening simultaneously are representative of the level of density that they're existing in.
Yes.
Because, see, this
Yeah,
level
so
of density has the veil of forgetting, because once you go to 4th and 5th, well, you're going to remember everything
Yeah,
else.
So
the
basically-
incarnation might not
basic-
necessarily
yeah.
be of us in this density. The possible incarnations could be 2nd density, 1st density, 5th density.
From what I was understanding is
Primarily
that they're
one
all
density.
this density now, and,
Yeah, this
and
density.
we're all you yourself is helping all of you
Yep.
to
Yes.
move up to the
Yeah,
next
okay,
level.
right, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of going, hey, have a look at this. This
Yeah.
remember we've done this in other lives.
Yeah, yeah.
Do we want to move through this
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
increase our vibration?
Because 1st and 2nd density would be the rock and the tree anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
I don't
understand.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
having
remember that
this-
guy kicked me, you know,
Yeah.
in the 2nd density.
Probably fucking did.
I'm going to fall on top
Well,
of it.
Or we probably came out of a
Could
cloud
do,
at some time
could
together.
do.
Where's the choice point? That you're saying that, you know, when you have this moment of deja vu, you have the, you know, the choice, do we want to continue along this timeline? What, a
Well,
choice
it's
to-
obviously come to your consciousness that I've seen this before,
Yeah.
and it's
Maybe it's a
obviously
new level of
it's
understanding
something.
and awareness.
How do I look? How am I going to look at this? Because that's
So
I
the
think
choice-
that's the
so
gift of
the
deja
choice
vu.
is how we view this, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's the choice. Yeah, okay, I
Yeah.
see what you mean.
I've done this pattern before.
Yeah, and now I'm
Is it
stepped back
is
from
it
it
serving me
consciously.
or is it not serving
Is
me?
it a pattern?
Oh,
Is it-
so it's almost
so
like
you're sort of saying, yeah, like from a,
Yeah.
we're talking about like a keep or delete here with these
I,
patterns.
that's mine. That's my
That's your
bit to it.
interpretation of a,
Yeah, yeah.
like of a deja vu. What about
Yeah.
if we go, oh, well,
Yeah.
all of a
You
sudden
could be.
this place reminds me of something.
Yeah.
Like that's a
What if it's a frequency level that's actually just come into harmonics to be into play into that place?
to explain.
So the frequency, so the deja vu frequency is coming to play at the exact same time the frequencies are come together and
Well,
merge.
Well, it's the
Of
joining of
frequencies
two,
of what?
Of-
two
of-
different versions of
Of
your.
versions
who
of you.
we are as a soul being.
And what though? What I'm trying to like what is coming together? Like two different timelines, two different incarnations, to what is coming together?
I'm just thinking it's just a frequency pattern that's coming in, and it's just becoming aware of the place and being that being or being in that space.
Being in that space.
Because it's like everyone. I'm just talking about the experience, and you say, "I felt deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
I felt deja vu. Hang on, what am I feeling?"
What are you?
it's like a frequency of
experience.
familiarity, is it?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, everything is energy, so everything is a frequency.
See, energy and light normally.
When I'm thinking feeling, I'm feeling of a doubling up. I'm feeling of a.
Yeah.
This is played out before. I know this.
Thus, it's a similar pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not so, and I'm thinking, I'm over with Marisa, it's not patterns and scripts are not in my feeling here either. It's
It's a remember.
it's a remembering.
it's a
It's-
memory,
but I don't
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like there's a need to, for me, drop a pattern or a script or acknowledge that. I feel like it would be more aligned with.
So, can I pose a question then? What's the purpose of it then?
What's this about to launch into?
Deja vu.
Deja vu. Yeah.
Why does it
That
happen?
doesn't need to be one.
No, but that's just.
I was
the question
launching
I'm
into a
asking.
gift
Is there a
for
purpose
some
in it
reason.
for people to just let's just think about that? Like, why does it happen?
I was thinking gift, and how do we become aware of what this?
Yeah.
Is that just us
apparition.
making us aware that
Is
there is
it-
multiple of us
Yeah.
happening at the same time?
Could be simple.
Could just be simple as
Yeah,
that.
because it's like, as in, and I'm trying to picture what Rick's saying is it's this
Yeah.
convergence. It's a convergence of a timeline, multiple timelines, and it
Mm.
could be a
Mm.
point of intersection.
Mm.
Because when we look at timelines don't just travel straight.
Mm.
I'm now going to jump into
Mm.
this one. They You know,
Yeah.
it's, like,
The
it's like the
merging.
double helix within the DNA.
It's-
It's
it's a
merging
fabric
and-
merging.
and maybe it's those merging
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, that's what I feel is. It's a merging point of
Decreasing
similar
of
things.
multiple
Yeah, so in
patterns.
Patterns? That's the word I'm using.
Narrowing the
Well,
funnel to
in multiple realities, have you both
Multiple
crossed
realities.
paths here? You know, and that familiar feeling
Yeah,
is it's
yeah.
because it's not just you feeling it; it's you in another reality, another timeline, feeling it at the same time. So maybe potentially it's a familiarity because it's not just
So
you're conscious in this timeline feeling it. You're also for a split second or a moment or a minute tapping into the consciousness of another you feeling it at
yeah,
the
so
same
you're
time.
meeting you in the same
Yeah.
time
Yeah,
as
and
they intersect.
And
And
it
it
might be a
feels
completely
familiar
different
and-
environment they're
Yeah.
looking
and
at.
then it's
but-
gone.
Yeah, and that would be a strange feeling because what the
Yeah.
hell, you know, we're
So
so
imagine
used
the
to
other
having,
yous having the same thing going, what the fuck?
yeah,
It's
two,
sort of
two
like-
consciousness meeting at a single point,
Yes.
and those consciousness of the familiarity might be the
Yes.
familiarity of themselves.
But it's
This
still
is
your
me,
one
this is
consciousness. So
my-
apparently,
Yes.
like from what this guy was
Yeah.
saying, you have an oversoul that split you off. So similar to what God has done, He's split Himself off into multiple us to have multiple experiences.
Yeah,
potentially, if we could ask many people, how do you experience deja vu? Who experiences deja vu? What
Yeah.
type of people? Could we move into the potential for us to be, you know, how many lessons do we have in this incarnation? 15. We get to a point where, you know, all these potential possibilities based on some sort of free will, where we're now we've received, something's revealed, we've learnt the lesson, it's come back, great. Is deja vu then the merging of so many potential possibilities into one, deja vu, and then it's like, okay, whole set of new, you've moved on to the next lesson. I don't know.
I
It's
think
So-
that puts conditions on deja
now
vu.
we're
having-
recreating other
I
things.
feel like that puts conditions on. It takes away from the randomness of deja vu. You know, for
Well,
me,
that's why I
what
was
arose
wondering
with
about
it-
the
gonna-
experience.
I'm gonna
Is it
throw
why
it.
have we been given this experience? It's because it's
Yeah.
maybe it's a tying together
It's the
of
purpose, yeah.
of much of what we've like done,
Mm.
and now we need to create a whole host of
I wonder
other
if that's
new
the
potential
familiarity you'll
possibilities.
feel when you become a social
Sorry.
memory complex.
Just-
I'm going to
Just go in,
throw
just jump in
a rock
on
in
it.
the pond right now.
Yeah.
Is that our higher self actually connecting to us to that point?
See, I think I've put a lot of thought into that, and
Which
I
is something,
Can be.
yeah, it's the memory, the
making sure that
connection
we're-
through a memory of your higher self. You know,
I think
your higher
yeah.
self has already lived this and already done this and gotten to where it is. So
Yes.
it's like a quick memory. You know what I mean?
I think that for me, that's more would be along with precognition, the higher consciousness.
It
going,
would be.
Yeah,
I agree.
actually,
So
yeah.
initially I thought no, and
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
went, oh, it could be because we've
So-
already done this. But then the precognition thing.
My
comes back in.
my maybe understanding of it is that our level of consciousness are rising, and we're starting to move past the veil of forgetting.
Yes.
Mm.
And so we're starting to remember all these other things,
Which
because
is why I'd like
our vibrations
to
are
know
rising.
who has deja vu,
Yeah.
which people, what are their mindsets,
Yes, that's
or
what you
their,
triggered. That's what you
Yeah.
revealed for me. Then
Yep.
it was like, oh yeah, okay, because it's that level of consciousness. Because you can talk
Yes.
to some people and go, nah,
Yep.
never have it.
90% of the population, of 90% of people, have deja vu.
Yeah.
They do,
It generally
yeah.
starts between the ages of 8 and 9,
Okay.
and happens more frequently in late teens to early adulthood, and then it tends to taper off. So from another scientific point of view, they think it's something to do with the development of the brain. But that's just what studies have shown is that 90% of the population have had experiences with deja vu, and those age groups are where it starts and where it's most active. So
what,
yeah,
what age group did you say?
8 to 9 is generally when it's
It
reported,
starts.
and then it happens the most late teens, early adulthood. During
Because
those.
that's interesting. Because then spirituality really starts at the age of 30.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a bit of a trigger point. You go, hey,
Mm.
remember this, remember this, remember this, and then you opens up.
What you're trying to give it a label to suit its purpose? And, you know, like talking about when you said just then between 8 and 9, and then 11
Well,
and
up until 8, pretty well everyone's unconscious. You're just a sponge, so there's no surprise. Well, 7 to 8 is when kids are just running around and absorbing everything. So, but then you hear of stories of
Hawkins?
that's remembering though. Where's Hawkins, and there's some kids that come back and at the age of 3 or 4 are remembering their past lives,
Yeah,
talking to people.
playing the
Yeah,
piano.
yeah.
So their level of consciousness is even higher, so they
They're
maybe
in a
not even
state
having
of
deja
permanent
vu.
deja vu,
Yeah, because
Well,
their
now we're in
level
the
of
fourth,
consciousness is higher.
and they're coming back
Yeah.
more frequently.
So maybe it's just a drip feed on the journey
Mm.
to go, hey, starting to remember the valve. Because if imagine
Temporary
if all of a
glitch in
sudden
the
you
veil
went
of
from
forgetting.
level of consciousness, logos, blah blah blah, down here to,
Yeah.
you'd be like, I need to go to the psych ward because
Yeah,
I've gone
yeah,
nuts all of a
yeah.
sudden because I'm remembering 25,000 different lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And the gift is the simplicity of we can't explain this.
Mm.
So it's cool that there's things we can't explain. Therefore,
Yes.
there's more out there than just
Yeah.
what we think
yeah.
we can explain.
Yeah, and ultimately we maybe never able to explain it.
Mm.
Well, unless we channel Ra, he might be able to tell us.
Is there anything in the Law of One around deja vu?
I looked
Well,
up Aaron
that's
Abke and
a
he
good
no,
question.
he just talks about reincarnation.
Yeah.
But
So
the-
I don't know.
Put a program through the law of one text and see what comes out.
Deja vu.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just
That'd
talks
be
about
interesting.
reincarnation.
Yeah. Deja vu
Although
is-
he
Because
did,
they don't talk about parallel reality.
he does talk about everything happening at once. I
Yeah,
thought.
but
timing
we've
both
got
of
everything
them
happening.
simultaneous.
Well, I
Yes.
guess
He does talk about transurfing because there must be because Brian Scott talks about transurfing and he's very law of one-ish,
Yeah.
is he not?
yes,
Yes.
but he does.
Get stuff
He also
elsewhere.
follows that Vladimir
Yeah.
from the reality
Russian dude.
transurfing.
I don't remember.
Because then
hearing
we've also have
Deja
you seen
Vu.
Tenet? Have you seen the movie
Yeah,
Tenet?
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, hang on,
Mm.
that's
Still
me.
haven't.
Basically,
It's
he's traveling
not-
in time, but
it's
he's
not bad.
kind
Gotta-
of seeing
gotta watch it twice to
himself.
understand it.
But
Yeah, I
he
remember.
puts it
look
on.
at-
Yeah.
you
I
look
think
at
it was
the
in the
movie
Surrender
Deja Vu
we talked
itself.
about.
Oh yeah, that was.
Where
that was
they
good,
realise, oh, we can manipulate time. And
Yeah.
It's a manipulation of timelines and manipulating time and then changing an event.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's
I need to watch
Early
Tenet
Denzel.
again because I only watched it once and I
Yeah.
sort of got it at the end, but then I think, like you said, if
Yeah.
you watch it the second time, you're watching the other
Yeah.
part of
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
because then you
yeah.
know what's going on.
Yeah.
Which maybe this is like just another run through. Maybe this is, like you run through this and then you then run through it again.
Yeah.
And then you remember what you ran
The
through.
deja
Well,
vu
then
are
you get
those
to make
moments
different
when you have to
choices. Because
remember.
then you remember, you go, last time I did this, maybe I should do this time.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, but
'Cause
rather
I-
than saying last time I did it, it's all happening now.
Yeah.
Because there's multiple yous and multiple realities
Exactly.
and many sliding
Multiple
doors.
probabilities.
And then
possibilities.
now we're meeting ourselves as we
all of a
cross
sudden,
these,
yeah, like,
go,
oh,
hang
we've
on.
come to this point again. We're all gonna have this thing, and what do we all want to do?
Well,
Yeah.
when you said that, I actually think I'd jump back to a memory of a deja vu moment that was more clear and longer, and I did have the awareness of going, oh,
Did this
what do I want to
before.
do this? This is what happened last time. Do I want to do this time?
Yeah.
I actually remember that now.
I've never thought
Yeah,
about
I
that.
think I've
right
had
then,
this-
you just
yeah,
took me
just-
back
yeah.
there, and I've gone, oh, do I want to
think
do
I
that again?
remember
I don't remember the
similar.
outcome, however, whether I chose to let it go through or change it. So that's interesting.
Because that's, I'll share the
that-
video that I watched because that's what he talks about. He says basically it's now your point in time to change the fabric of
Yeah.
your so-called future.
Right, and I
It's
think
a
I
lesson
understand
that
that
you're
now.
continuing to learn
Yeah.
all the lives, and it's like, okay, we're doing all this. What do you
So
want to do?
that's really interesting. I've never been consciously aware. I mean, when I have these deja vu feelings and these feelings of precognition, it feels like an altered state of consciousness.
Yeah.
But I've only, recently in my life been consciously aware and had a conscious awakening.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting the next time I have that deja vu feeling to apply that. Hang on a sec, if I know what's going to happen, can I interrupt the timeline?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially
Or
if
change the
How do I deal
if
with
other
change
people
the
are
trajectory.
involved, like it, when there's other people involved, like I know who's going to walk in and where they're going to sit and what they're going to pick
Yeah.
up. It would be nice if I could go and remove that cup before they have the opportunity to come in and pick it up, and hope time and space doesn't fold in on itself.
If you cease to exist, we
No,
know what
right.
happens.
Yeah, if you stop hearing from me, you know what
It won't,
happened.
it definitely won't. And,
Yeah,
and it is
yeah.
an altered state too, I believe. Like
Yeah,
coming into
yeah.
that, it's definitely feeling different. at the
Yeah,
moment.
and time feels different in those moments because I know that the actual, the physical time experience and the way that we look at linear time is only a maximum of a minute. However, in that altered state, for me, the feeling of time slows down.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm perceiving
Yeah.
a whole lot more
Yeah.
time. Obviously time being
It's
simultaneous.
unpacked.
I'm experiencing
Yeah.
a whole lot more in that shorter time
Yeah.
frame. And I then have a feeling like I'm consciously step back and observing
Yep.
everything that's happened, almost like I'm playing a third-person
Same.
video game.
Yeah.
You know, like
So you're the awareness of the
I
awareness.
am the awareness
you're
of the
stepping back,
awareness. Yeah.
Same
And in
experience.
that moment, I mean, is that what it's like to, you know, to be a social memory complex when you have that ability to be so aware of that? You know, obviously
Yeah.
Ra being so expanded that what he's aware of is every single other, you know, soul, thought, memory in that social memory
Yep.
complex. You know.
Yeah.
This is leading into then where silly stuff I go about the 4 and the 9, and then eventually, you know, how many is it? Yeah, you can be aware. Maybe it's the start of the of that process. I don't know. It's a good theory.
Be nice
Maybe.
to try and tap into the consciousness or the viewpoint of someone else during those moments of deja vu. Feel so altered, and I'm my consciousness outside of my consciousness in a sense, the way it feels. What can I do with that? Can I astral travel in that time frame? Can I move to a different vantage point? You know, the time I feel like I experience is so much more prolonged than the actual time that's passed. What
So
is
you're
this
really,
vehicle?
You're really
Can I use
being
this?
in the present moment.
Yeah.
So you're being God watching itself.
Yeah.
And the
What,
consciousness watching the consciousness.
what can be done with that?
Hmm.
Tune in next week.
Then we can throw in meditation and
Fortnight,
breath work,
mate.
and
Well,
we can do that as well there.
Have you ever been in an altered state through meditation or other means where you
Constantly.
view time in a different way, as it's simultaneous? Because I have. I've had it in certain meditations and other moments where I am not experiencing. I am the experience of past,
Yeah.
present, and future.
Yeah.
In
Future.
one moment,
Yeah.
I am the experience of everything.
Yeah.
You know, and I in those moments, I almost view or experience time as a sphere, and at that moment, I'm in the center of it, and
So
I can see every.
With that said,
Oh, I'm getting this is
Deja
giving
vu,
me
though,
goosebumps. This is wild.
Yeah.
I'm having deja vu right
different
now.
though,
I'm
right?
not even kidding.
Well,
I'm
this
having-
has happened before.
But deja vu is
See
different
what
to
you
that
can do.
experience.
Yeah. Jump
We'll
on.
ground you, it's alright.
Wow.
Would you not say then that experience is different to deja vu slightly?
I think there's some similarities between it, but I don't feel it's deja vu because I'm intentionally putting myself in an altered state.
Yeah, exactly. So
Maybe
there's an
they-
intention as opposed to
just
the accident or
as
the
a-
collision.
Yeah, an
Maybe
intention.
deja vu is just a sign of a little snippet of that's where you're going to be, that you're able to experience all that at once.
Oh,
So
Yeah,
does
maybe.
deja vu then come from what point? So so you see it, this is the thing, you see it happen, you feel the experience, and you have the experience, and you know the audible, whatever the scenario.
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
The field.
Okay, so if it comes from the field, then don't we have the capacity to be able to tap in the field at any particular point in time and then pull that information down to us?
Maybe that's what's happened in those moments where I've been in an altered state of consciousness and then intentionally, well, not intentionally, but it's happened during those
Unintentionally.
moments. Maybe there is a way that you can
Yeah.
alter your consciousness, get to a meditative state where you can start to
Yeah.
produce
Yeah.
almost, produce deja vu.
The difference between what you're saying and deja vu is kind of accidental.
Yeah.
Whereas you're going, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to tap in, and I can.
Which is
Yeah.
why I want to
Which we-
differentiate meditation
Yeah, with
to
deja vu, most people go,
deja
oh,
vu
fuck,
being-
what happened there?
No,
Yeah,
intentional.
yeah,
But
it
I'm
catches
about-
you by surprise.
But so
So
what we potentially could do is to jump in as an awareness now.
Yes.
Yeah.
When it occurs again for
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Try and jump in and
So
experiment.
I think it's a little taste of
Yeah.
really good mindfulness.
So
Yeah.
are you aware when you're asleep?
Depends if I'm lucid dreaming or not.
Mm.
I believe you can be,
Yeah.
and that's those
Practice,
moments where you
training.
realise that you're asleep and you realise that you're dreaming, whether or not you have the ability to control that dream and go into lucid, or, oh my god, I'm dreaming, and then wake yourself up. The only way you can wake yourself up from a dream or a nightmare is if you become aware
Christian,
that you are dreaming. So I believe not by default, but you can become aware while you're dreaming.
Because the other question is, do you really exist when you're asleep?
Mm.
You're not there
Do
to
you
you're not
really
there to be
exist
aware of
when
your
you're
body.
asleep? What do
Well,
you
you're not
mean?
there to aware. The only reason I know about this body is I'm aware of it. When I'm asleep,
But
I'm
that's
not
just the
aware of
body
my
though, because you exist because you are.
Yeah.
So the body is different in that moment in a sense. It's just a,
Which
Where's-
part am I?
yeah.
Which part?
Where
It
does
depends who you-
consciousness go
yeah.
when you're asleep?
Who do you see yourself as in a way?
What's his name? Rupert Spear or something like that. He reckons that when you're in deep sleep is relative to consciousness.
Yeah.
That's the seat of consciousness.
Mm.
And then when you come out of deep sleep, you then come back into the awareness of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you are asleep, are you aware of where you're at? It's because you're sitting in the seat of consciousness. Yeah.
It's almost separating consciousness from awareness, because there is obviously a conscious awareness where you are, conscious and aware, but at that stage, you are pure consciousness, but you're not aware.
But you're not aware of it.
Ooh.
So that's that process of meditation where you get to the point where you are nobody, no thing, no time, no place,
Yeah.
and your brain goes into gamma waves.
Yeah.
And
You are pure creation.
But then I think I can be aware at those times. So is that not possible?
So it's the localized form of awareness
Right.
rather than the unlocalized.
Yep.
So, you've gone into waves, you've gone into brainwave patterns, you've gone into sleep. And deja vu is coming in, and we talk about it, and it comes to an experience on a timeline, which is a snake, where we're going through it, saying it's going like this, and we intersect in it. Can it happen in sleep? Like what Nathan said at the start, seeing it, and then seeing it in a sleep pattern, not being aware, not being consciously aware of this situation until the situation happens.
Well, I'd say yes as a simple answer. And well, it's still the precognition stuff as well, maybe, but I'd say yes.
Yeah, but it's not a surprising deja vu.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, that's the thing. with
Yeah.
that.
It's not because if we agree that it's generally a consciousness as
Yeah.
opposed to being
Yeah.
consciously aware in this,
Yeah.
then it's not a surprise. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
'cause
Yeah,
otherwise,
and you
yeah.
can always trace. I found in my experiences, I can always trace when the feeling of familiarity is I've dreamt about this before.
yeah,
Whereas
Yep.
with deja vu, it's
yes,
I
different.
can't pinpoint where it's
Yep.
come from. It's I know what's about to happen. Right, I know this feeling,
Same.
but
Something's
not
happened,
this
yeah.
is where this
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
comes from.
I have the same experience.
Yeah.
There's no intention for it to occur. It just happens.
Yeah.
Shit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So curiosity killed the cat, and I'm going to throw it out there. The next time deja vu happens for somebody, if we can get a note on what happened.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and be
Agree,
aware of
so,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
So what about even like synchronistic events? Today.
too old, doesn't
I was
happen
thinking
anymore.
about this as well and how
Yeah.
we can tie that in.
Yeah. So like today, on the way over here, I stopped into the bike shop. Right now, out of all of the days I could have stopped in there, intuitively I went, oh, that's right, I need to stop in the bike shop. Now, obviously, there's a reason to go there because my bike's getting fixed and stuff like that. But as I'm there at that particular time, and as I'm leaving, then old mate goes, hey, saw you leaving the shop, and I haven't caught up with him. So a really beautiful synchronistic event has occurred. So as I'm standing there talking to him, I'm then also becoming aware that this has actually happened before. That's why I'm here. So even though it's not I'm surprised now I'm feeling this, it's more of a knowing. I was meant to be here because I was meant to have this conversation, and this is what's happening. So we can call it coincidence or synchronicity. Can that be another, once again, one of those opportunities to notice a pattern on a timeline where now I've got this opportunity to speak to this person,
Yeah.
And I feel into that, and when I'm with people and I've had the same experiences, I feel that's a different experience from deja vu.
Yeah.
and it is a different
That was
experience.
like you were
to it.
intuitively drawn to that in
Yeah,
order to
yeah.
have that experience that's
Sure,
already
but-
happened.
But the awareness.
Could deja vu also be an intuitive drawing to it, but you're not consciously
Yeah.
aware of it?
Oh, actually, it takes you by surprise because you're not consciously aware.
You're just there,
Yeah.
and you're in the now, you're
Yeah.
in the present, and you're remembering. So could all of these things be, in a sense, part of the same raindrops that
Yeah.
then
Fall under,
falling onto
Yep.
the timelines and going, oh, there's coincidence, there's
Yeah,
deja
yeah.
vu, there's synchronicity. Because they're all rememberings, really,
Yeah.
in a sense. Or you have that sense of, this has already happened
Yep.
before. Even this conversation is, I already have a sense that this has already happened before. Why is that?
Mm.
Maybe because we've, in a sense, precognitively loaded it.
Yep.
But in another sense, I can sort of remember these conversations already happening. Because, like Rick said, oh, what do you think about it? And Josh, I said, I have no fucking idea. Yeah, but as I sit here, I then go, oh, of course, I remember you talking about this stuff, and I remember some of the stuff that you bring into it. I don't know if that's a precognition, a remembering, or, but they all sort of like, maybe they're part of the same, in essence, category.
Yeah. Fall under a broader umbrella of deja vu, and then everything precognition is intuitive feelings.
Yes.
The knowing, the not knowing falls underneath that.
That feels quite nice. That's I think a nice.
It's an umbrella approach.
It broadens the spectrum of what is deja vu.
It's well.
And even when you're talking about the kids, really you're talking about the imprinting stage, which is sponges. So we're pretty unconscious at that particular time. But even in that unconsciousness, there's still an opening of information that's coming in. As much as we're getting imprinted from our external environment, there's still a lot of downloading.
Yeah, because looking at my youngest daughter, man, the stuff that she used to do when she was a kid, talking to people and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and so that's not a conditioning from an external environment.
No, that's just because she's open to everything.
Yeah.
Kids can often more see ghosts and stuff. True. Yeah. Correct.
So maybe these deja vus that are happening so much at that particular time, or the beginning of them,
because you're more open to it.
Because you're more open to
it.
Closer to source and that vibrational
then
frequency.
Maybe that starts to ease off.
Yeah. And then even as a child, do you have the cognitive capacity to go, oh, that's deja vu? No, it's not normally until later on you go, oh yeah, I used to feel these things when I was this age. So I'm just in this state of knowing, remembering, and thinking, oh, this is normal.
Good point.
Yeah, from the research that was done on the younger kids, it was they would explain the situation or talk about the situation to their parents, and then their parents would say, oh, you've just had deja vu.
Yeah.
And that's where the imprinting of,
this
okay, so when this happens, this is deja vu.
Yeah.
From a child's point of view, they don't know.
No.
They still don't know much at that age, and as parents we influence and educate them on what it is. And maybe the way that we throw it away to children, go, oh, it's just deja vu. Maybe if we were like, oh, deja vu, this is interesting. Would you like to explore this? And a younger mind.
Wow, that's really interesting. Maybe you were listening to your intuition.
And maybe at a younger age, you just took the word out of my mouth. At a younger age, we could almost teach our kids, or not close them off to intuitive feelings, and who knows what kind of progress that could bring us along the standpoint of evolution. We might just be shutting something down.
Shut down a timeline.
Oh, it's just deja vu. And when you say it, it's just. As soon as you say it to a kid, it doesn't matter what you've said. They'll throw it away because it's just this. Oh, it's just an apple. Oh, that's just a red car. That's nothing significant. And a child will, at that age, that's just instant program. Oh, it's just whatever comes after is a throwaway.
Yeah, well, that was like my daughter. Everyone just said, oh, she's got imaginary friends. And so as she got older, you could see she's like, oh, I can't talk about this. It was till I went and said, are you actually seeing people? And I made it okay that she started to talk about it. So, I'm lucky now. I've got a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, so they're at that ages now where I'm consciously aware enough to be able to potentially change the imprinting on them, compared to just regurgitating what I was told as a child, and what I'm guessing the majority of people were told as a child. And they picked you because you're able to do that for them. Well, honestly, I wasn't a year ago. Boga. Did you burn them all up?
The words wow and extraordinary a lot, so.
That's interesting. Their
Tell
faces.
me more.
Their faces
Isn't
light
that your
up.
nickname, Mr. Wow?
Apparently they say a lot. Wow.
This is probably the most interesting thing about my spiritual journey and conscious awareness and everything is the ability that we have as parents to just change the lives and imprint on our children. Like I look at my timelines of how I was a few years ago and the kind of parent I was, completely asleep at the wheel, just regurgitating the programs that I learned. All I was doing was just, this is my program here, now it's yours. Whereas, once you sort of open up to, to the spiritual awareness and the conscious awakenings, it hasn't even happened yet, and I know I've completely changed the timeline of these two young impressional children, and hopefully open them up to what I didn't know about or was open until I,
Well, the inner work via osmosis.
Little puppeteer over here, it's all changing, so Who knows? Who knows?
It was exactly the way it was meant to be for the experience of where you need to be in this place and time, right here, right now. You know, the coincidences and situations. Anyway, my hands are going really freaky. Just happened, and they happened for this reason.
And there's multiple timelines where you didn't wake up,
Yeah.
and that's still perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so, and this is the thing, is that, you know, we can. It's not, I've chosen the right path. Well, any
path.
All paths
it's,
exist.
It's another path,
Yeah.
and this is where, in a sense, the majority of your attention is being placed.
This
You
is the
know,
path I'm
become
aware
a
of.
bit more consciously.
Yeah.
But then we get caught up in that. Well, I'm guiding it. Well, who's the one guiding it?
Well, yeah, when we go back to law of attraction, I never thought I'd be sitting here talking to 5 blokes about Deja Vu and putting it on YouTube.
No, you didn't put that out there.
No.
It's not on
You
your
sure-
vision
sure
board.
wasn't Pretty certain I didn't manifest that one.
You know,
And
20 years
I'd
ago?
like to know who the fifth guy is.
You know, if I'm being honest, I manifested the hell out of this.
There's 5 of us, isn't
Well,
there?
yeah, but you were talking to 5 guys.
Oh,
You're talking to
5 guys. I do sometimes. It's pretty freaky. I have to.
I was like, who?
Who's the
So can I?
Since when could you count?
Let's get your shoes off.
Yeah.
He's just
Still
a tree with that.
He's still got
mustache
some
there.
toenails.
Oh, hang on. Can we then set up a little bit of a research experiment?
Yeah.
Can we have a guideline, or maybe a couple of things that we could say next time we have a deja vu moment? What do we want to try and become aware of? What do we want to try and do? What can we?
What do we want to
Maybe
notice
that's the thing.
besides
Maybe that's the
what
thing.
it is?
Becoming
What's the
conscious of
exercise?
it.
Yeah.
Becoming
Yeah.
conscious
You
and
can
go, "Ooh, what can I
record
choose?"
that and then play with it somehow.
Yeah,
Is there
yeah.
anything that someone could say, why don't we try this? Or can we?
Could
Do we
you-
want to just write it down? Do
I
we
want
want
to
to
try
just?
and be more than just aware of it.
Yeah.
You know.
How?
Yeah.
What
Well,
do we
everyone,
want?
What
everyone's
steps
got
do we-
technology, so you could actually just speak it into your phone as a quick note and
Yeah.
then put it up to the.
Sometimes sometimes it's not possible for me though.
Yeah.
Because I could be having deja vu in the
With the
middle of
client.
something. Yeah.
Hang on, I'm just going to
Yeah,
rub you with
yeah,
one
yeah.
hand.
Actually,
I'll rub you with the back of my hand while I'm texting.
one thing I do have to ask you guys: in the moments that you've had deja vu, do you notice distortions in sound?
I get like the Matrix thing, a glitch in my head. I start going,
Yeah.
what the no, I haven't noticed the sound.
Because I notice a muffled sound as if everyone, or if I'm the one talking at the time, or the other person is talking at the time, is speaking through a folded tea towel.
So
As
that-
if they were to put
That's
a tea towel
almost like
on
you're
their
really
mouth and
stepping
then
back
talk.
That's
Yeah,
different
that's-
again
yeah.
from what I understand.
That's what I
Speaking to
experience,
The gurus.
Oracle people,
Yeah.
they say as our ear popping and the
Yeah.
difference in the sounds, it is actual
You're picking up the
changing through layers.
the
Yeah.
vibration. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
moving into another
Yeah.
timeline or experience.
Yeah.
So,
So maybe that
potentially you're
distortion
having
for me is
both at once.
Maybe that distortion is I'm so far out of, or my consciousness or whatever is so
Yeah.
far out of this timeline that I can no longer hear it in the same way that I could if my consciousness was back in my...
Well, like in the last 2 weeks, there's this big energy period at the moment.
Yeah.
Solar flares, all the celestial events, Lionsgate, all the stuff happening. Lots of different people. I don't know if you guys have experienced the intense ringing, the hearing
Mine's
loss.
been
Tinnitus, I've had that since I went
also-
to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That's a
I've
24/7
had
thing
it for
for
a
me,
while
mate.
Well, for us that don't blow our eardrums up, it's explainable from some people suggesting it's with the energies and the movement, doing the work, you're moving through into new places. Maybe that's just occurring for you, but you're saying that's occurring at the same time as deja vu.
Yeah, I only hear it when I have these moments of deja vu, because for
I don't
me
have that
they're quite
experience.
intense.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen. It's almost always followed with it's a feeling. Okay, this is familiar. Precognition for a period of time, and then during that precognitive feeling, it's almost like I've stepped back from stepping back, and that's when the sound is. I can't really understand what someone was to say, but because it's a precognitive moment and I know what they're going to say or they're going to do, I can then react in a way that's almost predetermined with myself. Really like your idea of potentially changing that timeline, you know, because it is all predetermined. They say what they're going to say and do what they're going to do. I've already said or already say what I'm going to say in response. Potentially being able to step back from that, I wonder if that will change the distorted sound or voices or whatever else is happening.
Mm.
You know.
Where does this make you feel on your body? So when you feel it, when it happens for you, where do you feel?
Oh,
it
I
in your
feel
body?
like
That's a
I'm
good
hovering. Mine, for me
Yeah, so
personally,
you've left
I'm
it-
hovering.
you've left it
Hovering,
seat
and
of
I
comfort.
feel like I've just jumped out of a plane
backwards and
skydiving.
Yeah.
aware of it, like
Yeah.
Patrick.
You do. It's like an out of body
Yeah,
experience.
In a sense.
yeah.
I haven't had one for a while. Must be getting too old to have them.
Be careful.
Yeah.
The Neo moment where don't worry about the cup.
Yeah, yeah.
So, can you change? Would it have
Yeah, where were you going to
made a
break
difference?
it?
Would it? Who knows?
Would you-
But it's still. I'd love to have a point of reference where we can all try and do something and then come and report back and go, and I noticed this because we all did it. And
Yeah.
did that happen? No, okay. Or
See, last time I had one was when I was in America. It was really interesting. I never wanted to go to America, and I was there. I'm like, man, I've been here before.
Yeah. Maybe you didn't want to go there because you've already been there and didn't
Yeah,
enjoy it.
couldn't be.
yeah, all right, yeah.
Or was that you not listening to your intuition and going anyway?
It was a bit of that, but no, there was like when I was there, I was like, oh, yeah, I've done this before. It was just, it felt really familiar.
Well, that was it. That was Deja Vu, experienced many times from many perspectives. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see what we talk about next week or next time on Sacred Masculinity. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.